Welcome to a new year at First Parish in Bedford, a Unitarian Universalist congregation where we come together every week as a people with diverse beliefs and a shared commitment to bring more peace, more love, more justice, and more joy into the world. Whoever you are, whoever you love, whether you worship one God, many gods, or no God, you are welcome here. I want to say a special welcome to all of our visitors this morning, in person and on Zoom. We are glad you're with us today. Here in the sanctuary, you're invited to fill out a blue connection card, which you'll find at the end of the pews. You can give that to one of the ushers during the collection, and we will add you to our mailing list. In Zoom, we will put a link in the chat to a form you can fill out, and that will be your virtual blue connection card. Parents and caregivers of little ones, there is a nursery available downstairs for your convenience. But we are always delighted to have little ones here in our sanctuary as well. After the service, everyone is welcome to join us for coffee, tea, and fellowship in the common room. We have some announcements today. There was a link to an important survey about the capital campaign sent out in the Friday email from the office. The survey closes on Monday, so if you have not already done so, please take a moment and complete the survey in the next 2 days. You all received a little card about the capital campaign today with your bulletin. This card invites you to share a little on the back about what First Parish means to you. You can drop the card off at the new capital campaign table that will be in the social hall after the service. This also is a great place to learn more about the campaign and get your questions answered. We will share your comments from the cards back to the congregation in the coming weeks. Finally, there is a talk back after the service today at 11:45 upstairs in the Bacon Room. Come share your thoughts about your vision for First Parish and the future. It will also be on Zoom, and the Zoom link was emailed out. Now it is time to light our chalice. Every Sunday we light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalism. The chalice lighting words today are by Mary Sheldon, adapted, called Into Many Coming Years. Into many coming years, we cannot know what all the year may bring, and would we heed the prophecy if we could? Bright flame, send forth your shining light beyond this year into the many coming. Show us the ways of love and help and care, of justice, mercy, and empathy. Show to the world a beacon of safe harbor. Help us to find the kindred warmth within and among us to help make it so.
So welcome again. My name is Jamie Hinson-Rieger. I'm the senior minister here at First Parish. I'm so grateful for you joining us here at the beginning of a new year on a cold and somewhat snowy morning. Our opening words this morning are the poem, Morning Poem, by Mary Oliver. Every morning, the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again and fasten themselves to the high branches. And the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination lighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still somewhere deep within you a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning, whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray. Our opening hymn is number 38, Morning Has Broken, in your gray hymnal and also on the screen. Would you please rise in body or spirit? Would you please remain standing for our unison affirmation, which we say every Sunday? The words will be on the screen and in your bulletin. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en espíritu de amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Please be seated.
Ooh, we're at a pivot. There we go. Good morning. Oh, jeez, you guys are lively. Today's story is titled New Year Plans, the Optimistic Reflections of a Determined Third Grader. A new year is here, and I will not fear the trials that wait ahead, for I have great plans. Yes, I'll change this world. So why would I stay in bed? Here's what I got. Let me know what you think. These plans are so big, so big, I doubt they can shrink. First, I plan to make everything free. Yes, free. Wait, what's that you say? An economy. What's an economy? Oh, okay, never mind. Well, I also plan to make everyone feel loved and safe. So I plan to give every single person a hug. Wait, what now? How many people are there? 7 billion.5? And I have 100 years to be alive, so that's... Okay, never mind, scratch that. Well, I plan to start a restaurant that will feed those in need. And yes, I'd serve my favorite, peanut butter and cheese. What did you say? Allergies? To peanuts? And cheese? Oh, geez. Looks like I have some more thinking to do. The mind's a great thinking pot where ideas must stew. And until they are hot and ready to serve, I think I'll go play with the new kid. He looks shy and lonely. Wait, what's his name? Irv? Oh, well, forget these plans. I've got something better. I'll make the shy kid feel warm like sunshiny weather with a game or a joke or a drawing I'll share. It's the little things now that I know I can share. I guess changing the world starts small. This is true with kindness, a laugh, or just being you. So I'll start with Irv and know who knows where it will lead. Today is for courage, kindness, and to plant a seed. Yes. Okay, now let's sing Our Children to Class.
Good morning. My name is Marge Heckman, and I'm a member of the lay pastoral team here at First Parish. At this time in the service, we invite anyone who would like to share a joy or a concern to come forward to the candle stand. Please keep your comments brief and tell us your name if you can't. And we'll then check in on Zoom, and I'll be at the candle stand after the service for anyone who would like to light a candle in private for all those joys and concerns that we keep in our hearts. And again, I'll be at the candle stand after the service if anyone would like to light a candle in private.
Our meditation hymn today is number 15 in your gray or cloth-bound hymnal. And on the screen, it's number 15, The Lone Wild Bird. Would you please rise in body or spirit?
Once again, Happy New Year. Did you make a resolution? Did you make resolutions last year or the year before? Did you keep them? I hope you didn't resolve to go to the gym. Surveys report that 50% of new gym members quit within 6 months. 2/3 of memberships overall go completely unused. Numbers are even worse for those of us who vow to lose weight. Only about 10% of those resolutions succeed. Let's be honest, change is hard. As a veteran of resolution failures like these, I've been thinking about how often we pledge to improve ourselves, but fail to do it, fail to follow through. And I've also been thinking about the kinds of resolutions that succeed. Here are some things I've noticed. Resolutions tend to aim at something we don't like about ourselves. We're not fit, we're too fat, we spend too much time scrolling on a screen. That is, we're lacking some virtue the resolution aims to implant. So every time we face the resolution, we're reminded we're not good enough. There has to be a better way to make change less onerous. I tried to think of times that setting limits produced the results I'd wanted. First, I thought back to Sweet Cereal Week, and then I remembered Nintendo. We were never a big cereal family, but once our kids had encountered Fruit Loops and Frosted Flakes at somebody else's house, they wanted them. Of course they did. And of course we knew these products are basically sugar delivery systems, occasions for no that we didn't want to continually confront. Sweet Cereal Week saved the day. Once a year, the kids could have as many tiny sugar boxes as they liked, all week. Buying the single-serve boxes meant that they could sample more flavors and avoided leftovers. For a few years, we used a similar technique with Nintendo, which at that time was relatively new technology. We made it a weekend thing, a privilege, like sweet cereal. This approach flipped the script. Instead of trying to suppress a vice, we made it a privilege, one that the kids could enjoy in moderation. Admittedly, these plans weren't perfect, but in general, they worked. Instead of accenting deprivation, they focused on fun. Ultimately, we were implementing one of the laws that made the book Atomic Habits a bestseller years later. This book, which I confess I have not read, advises focusing on process rather than outcomes. Make changes obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. We won't resolve to lose weight. We'll only eat chocolate on Thursdays. Change, made positively in increments, maybe isn't so hard. But then I thought about bigger kinds of change. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned that my father, a binging alcoholic, stopped drinking when I was a teenager. He did that for me because the chaplain at my Catholic high school had me ask him to take me to an Alateen meeting and try out AA while he waited. Alateen didn't work for me, but that was okay, because for my father, AA supplied something he'd been lacking, a predictable social life, and one that didn't spark an argument with my mother. AA privileged a need instead of hammering at a failing. And it worked. I think what made the difference for my dad was having a great, worthwhile goal, relieving me of a life-warping stress, on advice of a priest no less. A hard goal supported by a meaningful, identity-feeding privilege. Subbing the joy of camaraderie for the solitary solace of drinking. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it was life-changing, and it worked. Why don't we make more change like this? In my adult life, one big resolution stands out, and I have to tell it as a story. In my 30s, I helped start a writers group, a small one, of women who had freelanced for the Boston Globe. We compared notes on authors, ideas, pay rates, editors. All of us went on to publish books. The change point for me comes in here. One member of our group was a woman in her 80s. Clarissa lived in genteel poverty on Marlborough Street. And she had led an interesting life, writing for the Globe, but also the New Yorker and other major magazines, marrying and divorcing the poet Conrad Aiken, and authoring an account of said marriage, published by a university press. Now it was time for Clarissa to write her own life, which she longed to make sense of. But she couldn't. She was aging, losing memories, and worse, losing words. It was so frustrating. It consumed her. Observing this, I resolved not to follow her path. I would sort out my life for as long as it took, so as not to lose track of it in the end. My route to this very large goal has been talk therapy, and I've worked at it steadfastly. It is hard. It hasn't begotten a book yet, and that outcome is not really my goal. It's the understanding, the process that I'm after. I don't think of myself as failing because my page is blank. I know that I am doing the work. This kind of self-reflection is not an atomic habit. This change is hard. But both my dad and I made big resolutions. This part is hard to read because I just finished it. We made big resolutions, goals about the people we wanted to be, things that we wanted implanted in small bites, but defined ways. 1 week, just weekends, once a week. And unlike diets and gym memberships, trying to read my writing here. Unlike diets and gym memberships, these changes have been hard to abandon. These changes have been hard to abandon. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Maria, for that reflection. Every Sunday at First Parish, we take an offering so that the life and good works of this church can continue. This Sunday is no exception. So in a moment, the ushers are going to come around to take your generous contributions. You can also give online. There is a QR code on the screen, or you can go to uubedford.org and click on Donate. The offering will now be gratefully received. May it be joyfully given. There was a rabbi who was asked about his prayer life by a member of his congregation. And the rabbi said, "Oh yes, prayer is very important. I pray for an hour every morning." And the congregant, thinking of his own very busy, very overscheduled life, said, "An hour a day? How do you find the time? What if it is a really busy day?" And the rabbi said, "Oh, that's different. If I have a really busy day, I pray for 2 hours in the morning." Now, I don't pray exactly. I do have a morning spiritual routine that I try to do every day when I get into my office and I sit at my desk before I dive into the day's tasks. It involves some reading, some reflection, some meditation. I check in on my spirit, I center myself, I remind myself of why I'm here and what I'm meant to be doing. I remind myself that love is the spirit of this church, not paperwork. And service is its law, not email. And I set an intention. May I approach whatever this day brings with an attitude of humility and curiosity. May I be brave when I need to be brave. May I be kind. And in whatever I do, may I be centered in love and be of service to the work of love in the world. Something like that. It's not an hour. Let's say it takes about 20 minutes. But in the spirit of the wise rabbi, I have a feeling that in 2026, I may need to double that. May need to allow a good 40 minutes because there's no indication that 2026 is going to slow down compared to 2025. Indeed, we may find that things are speeding up. And that's why it's so important that we slow down. Because the purpose of a religious community is not to react to events. The purpose of a religious community, a community of values and commitment, is to cast a vision through events. To cast a vision through events, to hold on to that vision through the tumult and the noise and the immediacy of need and change, so that the vision and the people endure. And then when we do need to act, when we need to act swiftly even, as happens sometimes, we will act wisely and in accordance with our vision, precisely just so much as we have taken that time to slow down and connect with it in all the days ahead of that moment of decision. So when the world speeds up, a natural reaction is that we too need to speed up, and I invite us instead to slow down. Let this be a house of peace, as the hymn goes. Whatever 2026 may bring, and I have no idea what 2026 may bring, let First Parish be a house of peace, because we need that. And I have heard so many of you say that when you come here, when you come into this space, there is an almost physical sense of peace that comes over you, that comes into your body. This sense of this is your refuge of calm and peace. And that is like First Parish's superpower. That sense of peace and well-being. And that is our invitation to the larger community in 2026. Come into this place, experience peace, know that you are worthy of love, and practice love in return. The rest, as that other famous rabbi said in a different context, is commentary. Now, there is a lot of commentary, to be fair. Many Unitarian Universalists feel that ours is not an easy religion to explain or to talk about, right? There's 7 principles, now there's 7 values, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of complexity and ambiguity, there's something called congregational polity, whatever that is. It's a religion, but it's not that kind of a religion. Wait, is it a religion? I'm not sure. Part of my vision for this year, when we talk about visions for 2026, part of my vision for this year is that we get better at talking about what this thing called Unitarian Universalism even is, and we're going to do that. But the heart of the invitation is simple. Come into this place, know peace, know you are worthy of love, practice love in return. And my vision for 2026, whatever else is going on, is that we preserve the power of that invitation for whoever needs it. And my vision part 2 is that we cast that vision wide. Because how many people could benefit from what this place has to offer, but they don't know that we exist? Or they don't know what Unitarian Universalism even is, or they don't know that they're invited. And a lot is the answer to that question of how many people. A lot of people, even in New England where UU churches are thick on the ground, even in Bedford where there's a UU church right here on the common, a lot of people don't know what this place is. They don't know about its superpower, and they don't know that they're invited. And in 2025, we took some steps to start to cast that invitation wider. Right, very simple things. A much bigger ad in the annual Bedford magazine, 2 ads in the school play. Just as one example, we sent postcards this year to neighborhoods in Bedford and Burlington, inviting them to the Christmas Eve service, which is a very easy service as an introduction to this community. And big kudos to our faith development staff for that effort. That was their idea and their initiative to do that. We're going to do more things like that in 2026. We're going to get more creative and expansive in our outreach. We're going to get more on social media. We're going to send out more postcards. We're going to do those things. We're going to reach out more beyond Bedford to Burlington and Lowell, which are 2 nearby communities that don't have UU churches. And my goal for 2026, which is a continuation of 2025, is to increase the visibility of this congregation, to grow its relationships with the surrounding communities, to increase the visibility of Unitarian Universalism in general. And in 2025, I spoke more in public. I wrote more for various publications. I showed up more at rallies and community events. And you came along with me, and you did so much of that your own selves. And that's all part of this goal of increasing the visibility of this congregation, growing the reach of Unitarian Universalism. We're also collaborating more with our neighbor UU congregations in Lexington and Concord and Lincoln. It's leading to different things like the public art exhibit that was out there on our common at Christmas Eve, and a very exciting young adult convocation that's happening in January. And I'm thinking maybe we could collaborate to bring more UU presence to communities where it is missing, and to demographics where it is missing. And in particular, in 2026, I want our outreach to be robustly multi-generational. And just in general, I want everything that we do, that we're thinking about, how are we being robustly multi-generational? This congregation, it will not surprise you to hear, has a demographic that skews older. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not unusual for churches. It does not prevent you from doing beautiful and amazing things. And in fact, you do so many things that I am starting off 2026 by reminding you it's okay to slow down a little. That's how many things you do. But multi-generational church is particularly important to you. And I know that because you told me that. And when you called me 2.5 years ago now, that was something that you were very clear about. You had noticed our demographics have changed. It's skewed a little bit. We're a little bit of an older congregation, and that wasn't your vision for yourself. You were very clear. You want this to be a community for all ages, where all of the different generations are building relationships and growing and learning from each other and mutually supporting each other. And right now, the younger generations need that support because they are facing a fast-changing and difficult world. And never mind the political nonsense, never mind what the present administration is or isn't doing, what the next administration will or won't do. There are a whole host of structural challenges that are facing young people and families. Challenges like wealth inequality and an economy that looks very different than the one that I grew up in. Student loan debt, which in some cases is crushing. Affordable housing, rising healthcare costs, aging parents, and the sandwich generation. the collapse of trust in public institutions, which affects healthcare, it affects the press, it affects science, climate change, mental health. It's a lot, right? There's a lot that they are dealing with and trying to navigate. And that is not to say that young people are not full of energy and optimism and ideas, because they are, right? If you are around young people, if you're meeting young people, they are taking on the world in their own way and on their own terms, and we have a tremendous amount to learn from them. But also, it's just a lot that they're being asked to deal with, and they need and deserve our support. And of course, there are challenges that affect all the generations, although they look different at different stages of life, right? We really are all in this together. Now, you take those specific challenges out of the picture, and you're still left with the eternal questions, the questions that people ask in every age. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be good? What is my purpose? Where do I belong? What gives my life meaning? Right? These are questions that people wrestle with in every age, at every age. The answers change over the stages of life, but the questions themselves are always sharp and relevant. And at every age and stage of life, people want and need supportive community. People want to feel meaning and purpose in their lives. People want guidance for their ethical life. They want nourishment for their spiritual life. They want to feel gratitude, peace, joy, connection, inspiration. And people look to their religious communities to help them answer these questions. Some religious communities purport to have answers to those questions, and they give you answers to those questions, sometimes very specific answers. And that's not exactly the Unitarian Universalist way, right? The UUA is to support you in finding your own answers. Although we certainly have some ideas about how you might find belonging, meaning, and purpose. For example, we might say love is the spirit of this church and service is its law. We might say we should dwell together in peace and seek the truth in love and help one another. We might talk about 7 principles or the new 7 values where love is at the center. Unitarian Universalism has a lot to say about what a good life looks like and how we might create the beloved community together. And one of my goals, remember, is for all of us to get better at talking about this and articulating this. But I also said just a minute ago that at base the invitation is really very simple. Come here, know peace, know you are worthy of love, and practice love in return. And maybe you're thinking, the world is on fire. The world is on fire. We need a lot more than peace and love. To which I would say, precisely because the world is on fire, we start with peace and love. We hold on to that. We keep coming back to that. But now we're layering on other things. Meaning, purpose. Who do I want to be? What will I do with my gifts? What difference can I make? What is love asking of me? What is justice demanding of me? What risks will I take? Who will take them with me? Those are the live questions that we're inviting people into. And I got to say, right now, there are a lot of voices that are offering answers to these questions of our young people. And some of those answers are not very helpful. They have names like toxic masculinity and white nationalism and other things. And if they're not hearing from Unitarian Universalism, if we're not offering them our vision and our values, then we are not serving them in the way that we could be and should be. And that is a loss to them, and it is a loss to us, and it is a loss to the world. Because in every generation, through hundreds of years of our history, our Unitarian Universalist history, there have been stories of people who first gathered together around that very simple invitation to peace and love. And then their souls were set on fire with the values of this faith, and they did remarkable things. They opened up new worlds of knowledge and freedom. They cast down barriers of prejudice. They built up liberal society. They built up civic society, societies that were fairer, more caring, more just. They fought for human rights around the world. They dreamed of peace. They worked to care for the earth. It is a history, it is a legacy of remarkable stories of people who began with that simple invitation to peace and love and found that their souls were set on fire by this tradition. And if you look at the walls of the common room after the service, you'll see some of those stories just from this congregation. For example, there's the Good Neighbor Pledge in 1964, when everyone agreed not to discriminate in housing, publicly signed off on that pledge, which was a radical and risky thing to do. You can see and learn about the missions to Transylvania that began in the 90s and built a lasting relationship with the community of Abashvava all the way around the world. And more than 100 members of this congregation participated in that adventure. And there are other stories that are not on the walls but should be, and someday will be, like the time you sued the town to put solar panels on this building, or the pipeline protests where you literally laid your bodies down on the line in defense of the earth, or the way you hosted a woman in sanctuary for 3 years, which we heard about today, which was a multi-faith, 24/7 volunteer effort of hundreds of volunteers that you sustained for 3 years. Those are just some of the stories of this congregation, a piece of the legacy of this congregation, which is just one piece of the legacy of Unitarian Universalism, and the next generation of your stories is being written right now. The next piece of our legacy is being created now. You may be aware, I hope, that we're exploring a capital campaign to launch in the spring. And legacy is one of the core themes of that campaign. Right? Its purpose is to preserve the legacy of this beautiful meeting house, to improve upon it, and to pass it on to the next generation, who will then get their own turn to preserve it and improve upon it. And imagine that you achieve this, and we have safeguarded this house of peace with improved infrastructure, and it's greener, and it's more accessible, and it's more community-friendly. There's a fabulous kitchen. We're cooking in on all these things. It's a fitting church building for the next generation of First Parish. And picture the inside of that building 10 years from now as if it were humming with life on a Sunday morning. And what do you see? Are there kids of all ages running around in that space? Are there groups of young adults like hanging out together and making plans for their next gathering or hiking trip or whatever it is? Are there groups of young parents bonding over coffee and commiserating together over soccer schedules? Are there people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, each group being served and having something to contribute? Do you see souls set on fire at every age? That is your vision of First Parish as a truly multi-generational religious community. That is also my vision. It is what Unitarian Universalism is supposed to look like. It is what UU community is meant to be. And it won't happen overnight, but it's not some far-off distant dream either. First Parish has the staff for it. You made that very generous commitment of your resources, which you support for your giving year after year. You have the will for it. You're very clear that this is who you want to be and what you want to achieve. And there are people all around us who would benefit from what this place has to offer. Know peace, know you are loved, practice love in return, but then also live a life of meaning and purpose. Set your soul on fire, change the world, fight for justice. 2026 is going to bring a lot of nonsense, I do not doubt. Some real challenges, some opportunities, and many, many distractions. But the vision that I am holding on to is this, that we are building the beloved community here for all ages, for all generations together. And we're going to cast that vision through the noise and through the nonsense, and we will go as slow as we need to, returning again and again to our First Parish superpower. This will be a house of peace. We will return to the promise at the heart of this religious tradition that you are worthy of love just as you are, that you can bring more love into the world just as you are. And this will be a big beautiful, messy, multi-generational community of hope and joy. And that is the vision for 2026 and 2027 and 2028 and beyond. It will take all of us. I hope you are as excited about it as I am. But let's begin building the legacy of the next generation of First Parish for everybody here today. Blessed be, and amen. And our closing hymn today is number 44, We Sing of Golden Mornings. It is not a familiar hymn, I think, so Steve is going to play it through for us one time. Number 44, please rise in body or spirit. Our closing words are by the great Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. And may we share it with all young and old alike, the friends here, the friends we have not yet met, for generations to come. Now we extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the light of understanding, the warmth of compassion, or the fire of commitment. Let us take those with us until we meet again. Go in peace. Amen.